On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Huge news happening. Two major ass stories. Doge, huge ass story. We're going to cover it. Big discovery. $5 trillion. Not shitting you. Also, helicopters don't fly well without tail rotors. Helicopters, this one crashed. And on top of the tragedy, family was lost. 6 people have been killed. It's horrible. But we've got some interesting information around who the occupants were. At least the husband. It was a family again. Again, this is strange. This to me seems more like a deep state thing, by the way. Deep state kind of kills people in plain sight. I don't think we do that. I don't think we do. I think it's kind of an evil thing. It wants it to be visible to everybody. I don't know. Maybe it could be said both ways. Hard to say. But major stuff going on, plus a whole lot of political things. And we got the music show happening today, which is going to be super duper exciting. Looking forward to that. Let's get rocking and rolling. Wanted to start with something that I just think is friggin' funny. I know we got a lot of people in my audience from the South. And for those of you that don't understand how the South work, well, here's a perfect example of if a self-driving car was of a Southern accent and actually a Southern personality, not just the accent. No. It goes much deeper than that. Oh, I'll probably need to make sure I don't have this sped up, but we'll get it started and see how it goes.
Hi there, I'm your self-driving assistant. Where are you headed?
Take me home, please.
Sure thing. You want to get there faster than a hot knife through butter or a sneeze through a screen door?
Sneeze through a screen door.
Y'all hold on.
The butter one. Do the butter one.
Neighbor, spotted. Would you like to stop and chat?
No, I'm kind of in a hurry.
Shooting the breeze mode activated.
Hey, Jim.
How's your mom and them? Raindrops detected. Slowing us down to 15 miles per hour.
It's just a sprinkle.
This could get nasty. Activating emergency flashers.
Oh, come on.
Approaching 4-way stop. Yielding the right-of-way. After you. After you. After you. After you.
We're kind of holding things up here.
We're in no hurry, sweetie. Always good to be polite. After you. After you. After you. After you. Engage in backroads navigation.
Shouldn't we be taking the interstate?
At this hour? Shoot, no. I know a shortcut. Recalculating. Recalculating.
We're lost, aren't we?
Recalculating. Oh no, just need to get my bearings is all. Probably just missed a turn somewhere.
Let me just put on the navigation.
Don't you dare touch that. I don't need it.
Sorry.
Where can I take you?
Take me to the grocery store. I gotta get some bread and milk before the snow gets bad.
Snow? Conditions too hazardous. Shutting down.
My favorite thing in Tennessee was the snow flurries, because I worked in a grocery store for a period of my life out there, and I was a stock manager. And so it was funny is every time the snow flurries would be said, all they had to do was just say snow flurries on the news. Bam, these people come in, they would buy, it was toilet paper, canned chili, and bottled water. Like just clockwork. We'd have to have pallets of that shit sitting around. It was amazing. So anyway, I think it's very funny. And again, no Southerners were hurt in the making of this. Now, again, this is powerful video as well, I thought. And I think it's important for all of us to just understand this, especially all the environmentalists. I agree we can do things, we can be cleaner, and there's certainly a process to get to it. But this really does talk about the contradiction of the progressive, crazy, communist left approach, which is you will have nothing, and then we'll figure it out. It was always meant to be about control. Power is control. Power is necessary for everybody. In fact, countries that don't have enough power are extraordinarily poor. It's just how the game is played. So this, I think, illustrates where we are in a big picture with the world right now. And we've got to understand what Trump is actually doing. and nobody else has ever had the courage to do this. And yeah, maybe, and we have some video doing that too, but nobody had the courage to do this. Trump's going to pull this off. This is pissing people off. I get it, but I think this is going to work. I'm on board. That's all I can say.
Idea how much diesel they have to burn to mix that much concrete or make that steel and haul this shit out here and put it together with a 450-foot crane? You want to guess how much oil it takes to lubricate that fucking thing or winterize it? And its 20-year lifespan, it won't offset the carbon footprint of making it. And don't get me started on solar panels and the lithium in your Tesla battery. And never mind the fact that if the whole world decided to go electric tomorrow, we don't have the transmission lines to get the electricity to the cities. It'd take 30 years if we started tomorrow. And unfortunately for your grandkids, we have a 120-year petroleum-based infrastructure. Our whole lives depend on it. And hell, it's in everything. That road we came in on, the wheels on every car ever made, including yours, it's in tennis rackets and lipstick and refrigerators and antihistamines, pretty much anything plastic. Your cell phone case, artificial heart valves, any kind of clothing that's not made with animal or plant fibers, soap, fucking hand lotion, garbage bags, fishing boats, you name it. Every fucking thing. And you know what the kicker is? We're going to run out of it before we find its replacement.
It's the thing that's gonna kill us all. As a species.
No, the thing that's going to kill us all is running out before we find an alternative. And believe me, if Exxon thought them fucking things right there were the future, they'd be putting them all over the goddamn place. Getting oil out of the ground is the most dangerous job in the world. We don't do it because we like it. We do it because we run out of options. And you're out here trying to find something to blame for the danger besides your boss. There ain't nobody to blame but the demand that we keep pumping it.
I like the little sneak peek of the bikini in there. That's touching. It's classy. I enjoy that. Yeah. So a lot of us, I mean, again, this was, I think, put out by a TV show or something or other, movie, whatever. I don't know. I don't know what the hell it comes from. But obviously, oil drillers. And I'm not disagreeing. I do think we've got technologies. I think there's evidence even. There's many eyewitnesses that have seen things that definitely seem to defy typical propulsion. Let's call it that. Most likely there's this whole slew of information that can't be made public. And here's why. Here's a big part of the problem. So this is the reverse of what this video just showed us, but it's the problem both ways. So if we came out right now, today, 0-point technology, ZPT they call it, right? 0-point technology, meaning pretty much very little energy to get it going, but once it gets going, you don't really need to do anything. It kind of keeps humming along, right? Keeps making energy. Or, in some cases, free, they would say, or using Tesla, whatever. We don't have to go into the long possibilities. It's pretty limitless. It's awesome. So, all of a sudden, that information comes out. Now, you don't need Edison. You don't need the power companies. You don't need the power lines. You don't need, right? Or you don't need all these jobs. There's trillions of dollars in this world right now that are tied into this 120-year-old industry. And if you had this technology come out, that industry would die overnight because no one would invest in it. Everyone would invest in the new technology. Well, and they are going to. But in 1 second that information comes out and becomes aware to you and I is the second the oil industry and normal a whole crap ton of industries dry up overnight. Millions and millions of jobs instantly at risk and unemployed to a large extent. So the problem is weird. You know, everybody likes to make things binary. I constantly bitch about how they're not. Here's an example of what I'm talking about. Things are the problem. The problem is this thing. We've got to transition out of it. How do we do that? How do we make sure we've got a plan for the new jobs, which I think Trump is doing? Bringing a lot of companies here, a lot of investment, over $5 trillion thus far, which is interesting because we've apparently lost $5 trillion frickin' dollars. Thanks, Trump, for bringing that back somehow. But we're at a place now where we need to start building that infrastructure for this tomorrow. And that infrastructure has to be aware of what tomorrow is. Now, the people building don't, the companies purchasing don't, but the individuals that are trying to plan this from a larger level should. So I think things are vastly more complex than most of us want them to be. This is hysterical. This is China putting this out right now to make it seem like, what, America, you're going to make your own stuff? And I'm going to say, and the fact that they are making fun of us, make America strong again, a bunch of fatties, this is hilarious. And I'll be honest, the only reason it pisses people off is because it's true. We got a bunch of extra-sized people in this country. And China's making fun of us for it. Parts about the last one there. I don't know if you guys noticed this. First off, made in California. Very funny. Very funny. Because this is being put out by China. And Gavin Newsom was the one that's like, China, 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 make a deal. They're literally making fun of you, Gavin. Right now, to your face. Made in California. There's two places where this square chip could go. But Mr. California here can't figure it out. It's trying to put it on the middle. I don't know if you guys caught that when you were watching it. It's very funny. I know it's not rocket science to see that, but some people don't notice things. It's very strange. I also like how giant the chip boards are, too, by the way. There's like, supposed to be, these are processors, essentially, and there's supposed to be millions of these per, like, cubic millimeter or some weird thing. Like, it's insane what, quote-unquote, we're doing with manufacturing. So, very funny, nonetheless. Chuck Todd had a moment, man. This is pretty sweet. The left is starting to wake up a little bit, guys.
I sit here and I'll defend a little bit of this in that I would argue the reason people were able to come to their own conclusion on Joe Biden is because of the media coverage. You know, look, we were subtle. He's using the back staircase. He's not using the front staircase. Hey, he's not doing any interviews. So there was this reluctance to draw the conclusion to say, is he not doing this? And that I agree with. That was held back a lot. I would argue it was also held back a lot back in the late 80s when it was clear Ronald Reagan wasn't necessarily running everything in the White House. Whether you want to call it decorum, whatever you want to call it, look, there were plenty of members of the media. I remember David Ignatius in the Washington Post, plenty of individual people questioning whether he should run. I certainly questioned whether he should run. You didn't understand, there were some of that. But I understand the argument about the collective on that front. The only thing I can chalk it up to is this, whatever you want to call it, this fear that some members of the media had sometimes that they would be perceived as helping Trump if they somehow diminished Biden, right? That it was some sort of zero-sum game. Mm. And I think this has been the fundamental mistake that many members of the traditional press have done.
Sorry, I was trying to have a moment there. Anyway, yes. They're figuring it out, folks. They are figuring it out, and we're making progress. It's a beautiful thing. Here's Hillary Clinton talking about, well, stuff that didn't age well.
I think we got to have tough conditions. Tell people to come out of the shadows. If they've committed a crime, deport them. No questions asked. They're gone. If they've been working and are law-abiding, we should say, here are the conditions for you staying. You have to pay a stiff fine because you came here illegally. You have to pay back taxes. And you have to try to learn English. And you have to wait in line.
Dude, that was first off, I'm just not a numbers freak because I'm not like everybody like that. But what's interesting is the numbering in here. First off, a bunch of nines going on. 1 8 is a 9, 2 7 is a 9, and then you've got 3 1s, 4 1s. Very interesting. Anyway, so I was tripping on that. I was like, what? That is crazy. But yes, this has been common sense. And I mean, to an extent, I was talking to the lady at the grocery store today, and she's very upset, and she's Hispanic, and she's actually how I found my housekeeper. She's pretty bummed because she was telling me that there was something where they got some people and rounded them up and took them away, and then there were some people that were kind of mouthing off. And this is where I said some stuff, and she had to agree with me, and she did. She backed down, like coming in illegally. I'm like, we can't reward you for that. What are you talking about? Like, well, if we've been here like 30 years, I'm like, you came illegally. And she's like, yeah, you're right. I mean, if not, you don't have an argument. I mean, the idea of paying a fine or something, I don't know. To me, it implies that you're serious about being American. I told her it bothered me that, some running around with Mexican flags and stuff. I did, though, honestly bring up the fact that I think we potentially, I don't know, stole. I don't know how we acquired the southwest of the United States very well. So my history sucks a little bit. I just know, I don't know, there's contention around it. And it used to be Mexico's. Now, it's ours, and I'm not ever thinking of giving it back. Don't get me wrong. But, you know, I got to acknowledge. It's kind of like the whole, if you don't acknowledge the Palestinian thing, it's like Israel, Palestine. And Israel's going to be last, man. This is starting to make so much sense in my mind. I look forward to figuring out how I'm going to try to communicate this, just because, again, like the stuff I've talked about is definitely tying into it. But there is this larger understanding that is starting to really frame itself. And it's just like, geez. Oh, okay. All right. And it's like everyone says, like these things have been a surprise when they happen, right? And then so when you finally see something that I was brought up Christian, folks. Okay, so it's been a little bit of a deprogramming session for me, and for a lot of people that get pissed at me for not necessarily agreeing with things the way you do, but it's literally been an effort for many, many, many years to try to find what's actually the truth. Now, I don't expect anyone to believe my truth, and I wouldn't force my truth on you. But the truth in my world has found itself, right? Like it's happened to me. I've experienced it. It's my reality. It's my truth. And it's taken some deprogramming. And I've talked about filters and stuff a lot. That's that kind of stuff. A lot of us have very strong beliefs that hugely affect what we're capable of coming upon. You can't come to a conclusion that exists in a place that you don't believe. It just can't happen. But if that's where the answer is, then there is this hidden answer that's hiding behind door number 3. And until we figure out how to actually look in that room, we'll never figure that truth out. And that's one of the big parts of what we're going through as a society, and coming to terms with the fact that our freaking government's been stealing from us. Well, deep state. Social Security numbers issued to non-citizens over the past 4 years. 2021, 270,000. 2022, 590,000. 2023, 964,000. 2024, 2 million. Non-citizen Social Securities, many of these have voted. They've already done the look. They've already checked as many records. They've already pulled these aside for the states that won't let us look at their registration. Here's the thing that many of you might not have thought about yet. I've not heard anyone say. How many of you want to take a guess that maybe these Social Security numbers are in multiple state registration systems simultaneously? Oh, just to take it a step further, how many of you would hasten to guess that votes have been cast with these same Social Security numbers in multiple states? We'll see when the data comes through. Doge uncovered $5 trillion in untraceable payments. No records of where it went. Just gigantic, holy crap.
$5 trillion in payments that are untraceable. The budget line is blank, and they're worried about your Bitcoin. 5 trillion, untraceable. No idea where it went and how it was spent. A $5 trillion blank check. Social Security sent out $72 billion in bad checks. Guess who resigned last night? The head of Social Security. Right when Doge asked Michelle King to have a seat because she was about to get canned, she says, "You can't fire me because I quit." And the press is acting like this isn't suspicious.
You may assert there's no waste in the Pentagon. You may assert there's no waste in
Stephen,
Treasury.
I'm not
you may
asserting,
assert there's no waste in HHS.
Stephen, I don't think anyone...
Then why are you not celebrating these cuts? If you agree there is waste, if you agree there is abuse, if you agree there is corruption, why are you not celebrating the cuts, the reforms that are being instituted? Every day that no action is taken, the entire salaries of American workers that are taxed disappear forever.
Stephen, let's calm down.
This is
We're not having a debate.
There's no reason
about whether there are
places...
places...
You are clearly trying to debate me, and I will be, as I want to be, about the fact that we are saving Americans billions of dollars.
Oh, I know you are, but what am I? Pretty much. Well done, Steve Miller. Love it. Love it. Family of Martin Luther King Jr. protested Donald Trump's decision to release the secret files. They want to see him before anyone else can see him. And I mean this with all due respect, Martin Luther King Jr.'s family. First off, I love the man. I think he represented something far, far, far larger than your family, much like JFK did as well. So your guys' need to privatize this in some weird way is by far overshadowed by the fact that your family member was far larger than you guys. And us, the people who he was speaking to back in the day, actually deserve that information, and you can find out about it when we do. How about that? How about them apples? Stick that in your pig's mouth and roast it. And that's actually, a lot of cultures do that, so that should not be some sort of weird, like that better not be just something like just black people do or something. I don't really, because I know my girlfriend, she talks about that. That's what they do for the festival every year. I don't know if they put an apple in its mouth. Not sure what they put in its mouth, but they like their chicharron. Healthy Home. I love this product, folks. I can't stop talking about it. I don't want to stop talking about it, first off. Go to danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. It's danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. The Stem Active, it's amazing. What it does is it helps enhance the number of stem cells your own body makes. It's not putting stem cells in you. It's helping you create more. And what these stem cells are, they're cells that can become any other cell. So if you've got damage to any part of your bodies, and it just happens, in regular life. Sometimes we injure ourselves. Sometimes we have surgeries. Sometimes things happen. We bump a foot. Damn it, right? Well, you need some healing now. Stem cells are what do it. They're kind of what rushes down to these different places. Muscle cells, skin cells, veins, heart, lungs, whatever, right? That's how we get those cells fixed and replaced. Stem Active helps you kick that number up 25 to 40%, sorry. A huge amount. Just within taking this, there's a gel, which I think is actually slightly less expensive, by the way. And there's the pills. I like just easier. We've also got a product called Balance. This is as we age and possibly on the lady side of things. I don't know. There's a couple people that say males have said they can sleep better, but I still say the joke is because their wives are now sleeping better, and that's allowing them to sleep better. But it's a smart man thing to say. I'm sleeping better taking it. Anywho, this is a hormone support. It's not putting hormones in you, ladies. And this is, again, I don't want to know who you are by any means. I do want to know if it works, but I feel so weird selling it because I know it works. I trust the company, and all the other products I've tried are amazing. This is going to be one of those things. Now, it helps you through plant-based ingredients kind of work that whole thing. I don't want to waste time on it because I don't know anything about what the hell happens then and what's going on. I've seen it and experienced it as an outsider. I got a good friend that is kind of open with some of it with me, but still makes no sense to any of us. Nobody understands what the hell's happening there. So this balance that you're going to experience in your life is pretty powerful. Something to consider, right? From what my friend says, it's no joy, that's for sure. Amaze Collagen. You get saggy skin. You got skin that's all weird and gross. You get problems, can't grow nails, your hair, whatever. Oh, collagen peptide. Boom, done. Got it figured out. Sore muscles? Yeah, got your answer right here. This is the best, one of the best sources. It's liquid, so your body absorbs it very quickly, and it helps tremendously move forward in those products or process. AO12, the antioxidants, get them the hell out of your body. It's very good at doing that, and that's aging. Prime is the nitric oxide activator. This stuff's rad. I just I made sure, like right before I went to the gym today, I was like, oh yeah, gotta get my Prime in me. Again, if you guys are out there that work out, this is great when there's no sugar. It's not going to mess up any ketosis if you've got anything going on like that. Very awesome. It just expands the vessels and allows more blood to flow, which when you're working out is super helpful. Blood flow is a big thing. And then Stem Active for pets. I recommend this mostly if your pet's going through some sort of trauma in any way, shape, or form and needs to heal. This is going to help enhance healing. That's really what stem cells do, in my opinion. They help heal, whether internal, external, whatever the case is. If you're talking about daily wear, which we're going to talk about this, like, Pet Club. You just want to get that Coriolis versicolor in them on a regular basis. That's a totally different thing. But go to danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. That's danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. Make those healthy steps, healthy choices, healthy living, and you'll actually start to see the benefits. Like my shoulder. dislocated. Used to hurt when I work out. That stopped entirely. StemAct has been helping. A lot of people have been saying the same stuff. Their knees, their joints. They're noticing a lot of different places where it just seems to be better. Powerful product. You'll notice the difference too. Usually within a week, 2, 3, somewhere in that vicinity. Depends. Again, my girlfriend's got calcification going on in hers. We're seeing some improvement. Definitely. It's slow, but we're seeing some improvement. Now, again, she doesn't do her exercises and a lot of things, so we'll just say it's almost 100% STEM active, and she's doing the collagen, but I don't think that's helping the calcification at all. But all said, go to danradiostyle.healthyhome.com, get your STEM active, hit the shop tab, right? Or join if you think you've got 5 friends that you can, you've tried this product and you really, really like it and you're already a customer. I would just, join, just create an account and find your 5 friends. You'll actually get your STEM active free and free shipping too, by the way. Pretty sweet deal. So you got to click the join button and just use me, however that is. I think it happens if you come through danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. But yeah, definitely. And we will we'll help change the world together, man. These are great products, and why shouldn't you benefit from it, right? It's a good way to look at it. danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. All right, here we go. Let's get the ball rolling. Helicopter crash. Horrible, by the way. There's some weirdness going on with this, though. That's part of the problem. So this is essentially it, upside down. We will get views of how that transpired. Now, here is someone that filmed some of the erratic maneuvers. Now, this is important in the big picture because, one, we were told the pilot radioed, and we'll get there, but I'm going to say all of it. We were told the pilot radioed that they needed gas. Now, if that's true, and if the helicopter lost gas, you can counter-rotate and land. You can. Every helicopter pilot has to learn how to do it. It's scary as hell, kind of, but you just, you change the collective, you start falling, and it spins the prop up faster and faster just from falling, and that actually works as a parachute to a degree. The fact that the air is having to spin the prop literally does slow the helicopter down a little bit, and then right when you get close to the ground, you pull up on the collective, which fans those flames and bleeds every bit of energy you've got from those props rotating. But if you do it reasonably close to the ground, you're going to barely hurt yourself or even possibly land perfectly. This is not what happened at all. Not even a little. Now, the first erratic move was definitely weird at the very beginning where it was diving. Okay, so that's super strange. And then it seems to level out, which, okay, but what the hell? Now, we've got a little more footage of, I think, the crash actually happening or it falling in. You'll notice there was no tail. So not sure what happened. People talk about the boom. I think that's actually just maybe it hit in the water. Not 100% sure. But that helicopter lost its tail. Something weird was going on with its flight mechanics or with its ability to fly. Now, again, we're hearing that it called needing fuel. Having a hard time agreeing with that. Now, what's also interesting is it's a family. It's a family from Spain, supposedly. 5 of them. A lovely family that has all passed away. My prayers go out to any of their family that have to deal with this. The pilot also lost his life. 6 people perished in this particular attack. Now, we've come to find out this is a tech boss, Agustin Escobar. He's the president of the Spanish branch of the technology company Siemens. And his wife and 3 children were killed in a helicopter crash in New York City as well. Now, Siemens, I don't know. There's not there's some stuff that's going on right now that's kind of interesting. But Red Pill Pharmacist reminds us of the headline from last month. Siemens plans to invest $285 million in manufacturing in the United States, the tech company said Thursday, including 2 new facilities in California and Texas. We got this guy tied in with Siemens. Siemens, I don't know, Siemens there's some questions about, but okay. And this guy is tied to them. Last name's Escobar. I'm sure that's a common last name. Everybody's got it, right? Doesn't just have to sound like it rhymes and spelled identical as the drug cartel Escobar. Also very strange to kill him here in America. And he falls in the water, too, by the way. So the pilot seemed like he was dealing with something. I don't know if someone freaked out inside and the erratic maneuvers actually snapped the tail. Entirely possible, based off of seeing it dive like we did. And it had a fan, like a stabilizer, if you will, horizontal stabilizer on its tail. That seemed to be missing when it was crashing, so could have snapped at that place. And if it was doing a lot of crazy stuff, who knows? Maybe something happened. Maybe the pilot died, right? And then they were trying to fly it, and they didn't know what the hell they were doing. And they're like, holy shit, this is harder to do than you think. And it's like, yeah, for sure. There's a lot of ways to crash a helicopter. Very few ways to fly it correctly. Plane crashes in Boca Raton as well. Apparently 3 people reported dead in this. This is a pretty weird little scenario as well. I don't think we see the crash happen, just the results of it.
I don't know what it was. The whole building's full.
Dive bombing or something. It was weird. I heard it like zooming by a couple times, and then I just heard.
So that kind of works with what we understand. The guy says, I heard it zooming, and then it like crashed, like dive bombing, they're saying. So this is some strange information. And then we find that we do actually have some interesting video. This is one of them. Let's try to make this larger. This might be boring to watch. Let's see if I can actually play it. How do I do this? Oh, rewatch. Like that. There we go. So this is the plane. I don't know what he's doing, but he's doing lots of loop-de-de-loos and loop-de-de-laws. Not sure in which order, by the way, frankly. Right? Doing all this. He's still going. I don't want to, I guess we'll talk through it a little. It's odd how much weird stuff this pilot was doing. And then it seems like he finally found his marker on the ground, this area here. Flew over it multiple times. Then takes a wider come at it and then straightens out and... Oh, wait, no, right up in here is where he hits it. So I don't know, right? But that's strange. That's definitely strange. And that's where this accident that we saw, and the dude's talking about how he heard it zooming by. They're saying it was having mechanical issues. It could have been, because the runway was over here, and he kept looping, so he didn't seem like he could straighten out, so it's entirely possible he had damage and was just having almost like he was missing part of his wing, or, something was stuck outside that was forcing him to constantly turn left, and he just couldn't straighten out enough and finally lost altitude, which is kind of what it sounds like, I guess. Something up. Poor thing crashed, though, and I don't know if we know how many people were a part of. 3 people were on board, and all were killed there as well. So weird stuff going on in the world right now. Speaker Johnson told Republican holdouts on the party's crucial budget plan in a private meeting Wednesday night that they could oust him for the speakership if he doesn't follow through with his fiscal promises. Basically saying, look, I'm definitely trying to cut $1.5 trillion. That's what I'm trying to do. We're trying to move the ball forward, basically. Kind of the crap I've been saying. Just give me a chance, guys. Come on. We're making progress. We're moving in the right direction. We barely have a majority. Just give me a chance. And they seem to have let him get away with this vote. Now, Jeffries is not happy with how they passed this bill. Apparently some people are dead on their side of the fence, and it's helping the difference in numbers.
Passing this initial budget resolution should have been a slam dunk for Republicans. They had to pull the bill down off the floor last night and barely struggled to pass it today. We had 2 tragic deaths in the House Democratic Caucus. Had those deaths not occurred last month, Republicans could not have even passed the bill today. So it's going to be very difficult for them because once the committee process starts, they can no longer pretend as if they're not intending to cut Medicaid and nutritional assistance and hurt veterans all across the country.
Now, they continue to make things up. I mean, that's going to destroy them because it's going to constantly come out that they're lying. And so this will be their downfall, their continued lies, but nonetheless, Trump has literally walked these guys right into a trap, and it's a beautiful thing. We know what we're going to find if an investigation happens. We've got AOC and this guy now even saying it.
We need to get to the bottom of the possible stock manipulation that is unfolding before the American people, including what, if any, advanced knowledge did members of the House Republican Conference have of Trump's decision to pause the reckless tariffs that he put into place.
Now, what's funny is, I mean, this is obviously what they would expect them to do, so obviously we're doing it. I think the whole trick on this one was some of the people on the Intelligence Committee likely knew that this was coming or a possibility because it had already got leaked. Then the administration basically came out and said that's crap. Then the markets reacted again. And then it ended up being true. But a day plus later, I think we caught a couple things. I think we caught people on the left for sure, trying to inside trade. And then two, I think we actually zigged when they zagged and actually messed up some of their holdings. It wouldn't surprise me if some of these people lost money because they made a mistake. I think there might have been some accidentally leaked information. This is kind of what I'm sort of under the impression, but we'll see. Democrat senator asked to cough up evidence Trump committed insider trading. Of course, we've got Blumenthal and Schiff. All these guys are coming out saying that there's indications of trading patterns. Because they're asking, the reporter's like, have you seen any direct evidence of insider trading? And Blumenthal's like, well, no, just indications and patterns. They're making stuff up. Again, this is what they're doing. I'm not going to waste a minute 49 of any of our lives listening to that douchehole. Here's Senator Fetterman, which, I don't know, this is where, if my math is correct, about 97% of Americans exist, is where this guy exists.
Do you think that they might be engaged in insider trading at all, or is that something? Because some of your colleagues said they're interested in it.
Well, I mean, I actually was really behind that too. I don't think any of us should be owning stocks. You know, I don't know what my colleagues' view on that is, but I don't think we do. I don't own any stocks, and I sure hope no one was selling or buying any of it over the last kinds of week or two, for sure. You know.
Now, I'm going to be honest, John. You would maybe likely own some stocks if you'd stop spending such large amounts of money on your wardrobe. That's all. I'm just going to say it's obvious, it's evident, the bling, all that stuff. It's just ridiculous, dude. Come on, tone it down a notch, right? Try to look like a regular dude. Stop trying to, stand out everywhere you go. Oh, wait, he can't really help the fact that he's a giant. Media suddenly wants to talk about insider trading. Again, it's funny. This was Nancy Pelosi a while back, obviously, because she doesn't look stupid old. But, just, again, doesn't age well.
Congresswoman Pelosi also declined our request for an interview, but agreed to call on us if we attended a news conference.
Madam Leader, I wanted to ask you why you and your husband, back in March of 2008, accepted and participated in a very large IPO deal from Visa. At a time there was major legislation affecting the credit card companies making its way through the House. And did you consider that to be a conflict of interest?
I don't know what your point is of your question. Is there some point that you want to make with that?
Well, I guess what I'm asking is, do you think it's all right for a speaker to accept a very preferential and favorable stock deal?
Well, we didn't.
You participated in the IPO.
Well, I have many
and at the time you were
investments, but
Speaker of the House. You don't think it was a conflict of interest or had the appearance of a conflict of interest?
It only has the appearance if you decide that you're going to have elaborate on a false premise. But it's not true, and that's that.
I don't understand what part's not true.
Yes, sir. That I would act upon an investment. Yes.
Congresswoman Pelosi pointed out that the tough credit card legislation eventually passed, but it was 2 years later and was initiated in the Senate.
I will hold my record in terms of fighting the credit card companies as a Speaker of the House or as a member of Congress up against anyone's.
Now, if I remember correctly, I think we actually know that they're allowed to legally insider trade in Congress. I believe we learned that because of Nancy Pelosi, by the way. Just saying. Hillary Clinton talking about tariffs.
What about trade? After all, Trump talks about it all the time. Well, let's start with this. It is true that too often past trade deals have been sold to the American people with rosy scenarios that did not pan out. Those promises now ring hollow in many communities across Michigan and our country that have seen factories close and jobs disappear. Too many companies lobbied for trade deals so they could sell products abroad, but then they instead moved abroad and sold back into the United States. It is also true that China and other countries have gamed the system for too long. Enforcement, particularly during the Bush administration, has been too lax. Investments at home that would make us more competitive have been completely blocked in Congress, and American workers and communities have paid the price. But the answer is not to rant and rave or cut ourselves off from the world. That would end up killing even more jobs. The answer is to finally make trade work for us, not against us. So as president, I will stand up to China and anyone else who tries to take advantage of American workers and companies. And I'm going to ramp up enforcement by appointing, for the first time, a chief trade prosecutor. I will triple the number of enforcement officers, and when countries break the rules, we won't hesitate to impose targeted tariffs.
A few years later. I don't know. That was my best impression of that. But yes, this does not age well. Nor did she, by the way. I'm assuming there's like 14 of her. She's one of the ones, like Joe, like it was obvious he changed. And then, yeah, she's another one that's like, which version of you are we dealing with right now? China raises tariff on U.S. goods to 125% in retaliation. They raised it up yet again. Now, the stock market was down this morning a little. Not bad. It's up now a little bit, which is fine because China's thing doesn't go into effect until basically midnight tonight. Our time, well, probably their midnight, whichever. So Dow Jones is doing all right, but I just, again, want to point out something. Gold's up, friggin' $75, $32.52. $32.52 is where gold's at. It's up $100 over what it was maxed at just 5 days ago. It's actually up, it's up almost 250 from like 5 days ago. Whatever the case is. Gold is doing very well. Silver's up a bunch too, 32. Solid. So stuff's getting kind of interesting out there. This is analysis. Chamath Palihapitiya. He's 100% right for talking about this trade war essentially and what's really going on, and kind of helps break it down really perfectly so we can understand it better.
And we have to follow through. When the history books are written, I think we will look back at the period of the Biden administration, and I think there will be two unequivocal observations. One was that he was in mental decline and he was not really running the country. And the second is that in partnership with Janet Yellen, they pushed America to the brink of financial collapse. And the details of that, Laura, are very clear. The amount of debt that they created and issued, the amount of short-term obligations that they created for the U.S. Treasury are frankly unconscionable. The reality is that for the last 40 years, whether they want to admit it or not, Donald Trump has been right. When we admitted China into the WTO in 2000, we thought we were getting the best of it, but we didn't. we did a very bad deal, and they won overwhelmingly. Then, 20 years later, right at the beginning of COVID, we realized yet again how fragile the United States was, how incapable we were of resiliently protecting ourselves and taking care of our own interests. And so at the end of the day, the most important thing that we need to remember is there are 4 areas that matter. Everything else is debatable, but the 4 that are undebatable. Number 1 is AI. Number 2 is energy. Number 3 are batteries and rare earths. And number 4 is pharmaceuticals. And the reason is, if we can take care of those 4 areas, we will do so much for protecting Americans and building a great economy. And the thing is, the president has been onto this for much longer than the rest of us. And I think what you're hearing from the establishment is an inability to just acknowledge that he was right, they were wrong, and to course correct.
So they wrecked it and he's trying to fix it?
Well, I think the thing is that the global elite have deeply benefited from a 20-year regime of taking jobs and moving them anywhere in the world that allowed you to optimize for profit, number 1. It benefited from an economic regime of low volatility where you could keep interest rates effectively at 0 for quasi forever. And the reality now is that what they see is an inability to create and scaremonger the White House into economic policy. And I think that this is very troublesome for them because they've been able to control from Wall Street or from London or from these other places how governments behave. And so what you see right now is them violently trying to push back and trying to create a narrative. So for example, if you opened up the papers, there's an entire wing of the media that is now trying to say that the president, quote unquote, blinked. Why do they want us to think that? I think they want us to think that because they want to believe that they can talk about the stock market and then affect policy every 5 and 10 minutes. But I just want everybody to realize the stock market is back to where it was in May 26th of 2024. By no means is this a crash. Absolutely there's volatility, but we are not in a place where it is time to all of a sudden revisit these aspirations that we've had. We are in a unique moment in time where we have the ability to reset the global order, and we have to follow through.
And again, this is, I think, the opposite of the New World Order, reset the global order, which the New World Order was supposed to be, the global order. They wanted a singular order. We saw everything moving in that direction, and that definitely seems to be fractured, or being fractured, at least at this point. Here's Trump talking about something important.
So somebody had to do it. I am the chosen one. Somebody had to do it. So I'm taking on China. I'm taking on China on trade. And you know what? We're winning because we're the piggy bank. We're the one that all these countries, including the European Union, wants to rob and takes advantage of. European Union, $200 billion. China, more than $500 billion. Sorry, I was put here by people. I was put here by people to do a great job, and that's what I'm doing.
Very curious who he was actually talking to.
Somebody had
there, yeah, right. Like, I mean, satellites, anything's possible. Maybe it's just God. I am the chosen one. Interesting, just from many standpoints. Also, I don't know, up and left, kind of wondering. Anyway, just strange. It is what it is. But yeah, to a degree, seems to be somewhat chosen for this role in time. BMW, they're eyeing production boost here in their one plant they've got in the United States. It's in South Carolina, Spartanburg. They want to up the production by 80,000 units. So for people out there, I bet this is good jobs. They also said they had a decent amount of inventory, so they're not going to have to charge different prices for a little bit. They're expecting that to start to kick up in May. So if you want a BMW, you best get out and get one soon. Otherwise, you might have to wait a while. President Donald J. Trump officially signed the bill to repeal the DeFi crypto broker rule. Apparently, this is the first cryptocurrency bill ever signed into law by a president. So there you go, guys. All you crypto people. Again, I got a little bit of like XRP and crap, but I whatever. Just want to remind you guys, drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. I don't necessarily think it's the best time to get out, but one of those things where I kind of think it might be a good idea to try to start the process, and then if the stock market gets worse, maybe tank out. But I don't know. I think there's still some diversification. Gold is still going up. There's still a lot of room for growth. There's still a lot of volatility. There's still a lot of crazy things that need to happen. There's still Israel. There's still Taiwan. There's a lot that needs to happen. This is called diversifying some of your wealth into something that's definitely going up. And it's going to be backing probably any new currencies we're going to have. So drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Get out of that system before they get out of you. Donald Trump truth this out. The House and Senate should push hard for more daylight at the end of a day. Very popular, and most importantly, no more changing of the clocks. A big inconvenience, and for our government, a very costly event. It truly is. It's a pain in the ass. Everywhere has to deal with it. You literally have to deal with it with code. It sucks. It would be so awesome to get rid of daylight savings. Like I'm agreeing. Like set it so it's the lightest, the longest in summer at night. I don't give a crap if it's 10 o'clock at night and the sun's still out. For people in Alaska, it's like it never goes down. I know. Sorry, most of us don't experience that. But, right? And then, it stays light as long as it can in the winter. And then it gets light at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Finally, the sun comes out when you live in Wisconsin or whatever. However that works. You got to make cheese somehow, right? Sanctuary Governors Waltz, Pritzker, and Hochul called to testify before Congress. I think it has to do with the sanctuary governors. Like, why do you think it's okay to do something that goes against the law? I don't know. They're going to be interesting to see what we find out from it. 2 American women arrested at the border for smuggling unaccompanied minors. Literally, I think they're 2 American citizens. They don't say whether they were quote-unquote American-ish looking or, citizens, just whatever the case was. They had 2 kids in the car that were 12 and 10, I believe it was, and they were not theirs. They had some funky stories. Border Patrol's like, you got to go over here. You're failing all the initial stuff. And when they did the search, they found that these kids were, in fact, not theirs. So these individuals were transporting unaccompanied children across the border. Were they going into some sort of trade? The name, the age would imply, I don't know if there were 2 girls also. Just saying. Anyway. Josh Hawley, he sent letters to Meta's CEO, Mark Zuckerberg, talking about this whole China thing and the data with China. We talked about the story. Hopefully you guys are aware of it. They were putting the servers there, and theoretically, China could easily look at American data if they wanted. And the lady's like, they said they wouldn't, but they could have. Trump tripped this out as well. Mexico owes Texas 1.3 million acre feet of water under the 1944 Water Treaty, but Mexico is unfortunately violating their treaty. Well, he puts all this nonsense out, and then sure as shizzle, Mexico's going to send water to Texas farmers as U.S. treaty threat grows. Look at this. 81-year-old treaty or whatever the hell. Or that's Trump's 81-year-old water sharing treaty. Yeah. Scheinbaum's like, all right, give you guys some friggin' water. Cool. We need it. Texas farmers are probably stoked. Good job, Trump. Biden never did any of this nonsense. A group of Democratic state attorney generals on Thursday sued the Trump administration in an effort to stop it from cutting off more than $1.1 billion in funding meant to help address the long-term effect of the COVID-19 pandemic on elementary and high school students. Yeah, COVID money. Pulling back the COVID money because you know what? COVID's over. You didn't spend it, you don't get it. Bye-bye. Sorry, but yeah, Letitz is, Ms. James is trying to get her funk on and see if she can do that. Well, maybe she'll be able to. Fun little statistic. Elon confirms that if Alex Soros, George Soros, or anyone else funded the attacks on Tesla dealerships, they will go to prison. George Soros is banned in Russia, Pakistan, Turkey, Hungary, Poland, and the Philippines. Ask yourself why 6 countries have banned this traitor, but not the USA, where he continues to fund a communist insurrection. Because we're getting there, I hope. Judge is allowing requirements that everyone in the U.S. illegally must register to move forward. This is very interesting. First off, for people that just even after the conversation I had today with my good friend Maribel, nice lady. She works at Ralph's. I assume she's got papers. But the federal judge on Thursday allowed the Trump administration to move forward with the requirement that everyone in the U.S. illegally must register with the federal government and carry documentation, in a move that could have far-reaching repercussions for immigrants across the country. Now, what the judge acknowledges, which is pretty fantastic, comes up in this part. Judge Trevor Neal McFadden, a Trump appointee, sided with the administration, which had argued that officials were simply enforcing a requirement that already exists for everyone who is in the country but isn't an American citizen, meaning you need to have a visa or something. Otherwise, you're here illegally or undocumented. Not okay. You have to have documentation. So what they're saying is, here's the deal. You got to have documentation. This is being proven now, which is unfortunate because if you don't have documentation, you can be deported. Doesn't matter if somebody wants to fight that. It's like they don't have documentation. No. They've got some form of documentation. All right, we'll deal with them in a different way. Again, I'm not about just getting rid of everybody. I think people that are not doing anything wrong, I just hope they can kind of, I used to smell, well, I used to have to partake in herbal remedies in life, and it wasn't legal at the time. And I still acquired it, and I still had to deal with that concept, right? So, I get it. I've not always done everything 100% legal. I like to drive too fast sometimes too, right? This happens. Sometimes I don't fully stop. Sometimes it's California, though. We call it a California stop, and it's kind of okay here. I've seen people do it in front of cops, and it's like, really? Okay. All right. Okay. I wouldn't do it in front of a cop, that's for sure. U.S. judge is going to block Trump from revoking thousands of migrants' legal status. For now. Federal judge in Boston, of course, blocking President Trump's administration on Thursday from revoking the temporary legal status of hundreds of thousands of Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, Venezuelans in the United States. Venezuela's going to have a hard time. They're going to have a really hard time. Whatever the case is, we've got a judge, Tanya Indira Talwani. Draw whatever conclusions you want. We could try to look her up, should we? I don't know. It's almost fun not to. Let's go ahead and let's judge her by what she looks like. What the hell? Well, let's do it this way, though. Make it easy. There you go. All right. So, I don't know. She looks kind of not Middle Eastern. She looks, to me, she's kind of got almost like a Greek kind of look to her, but whatever. I don't even know. Polish, maybe? What do you guys think? I have no idea. Definitely European. She's got a kind of a European feel to her. But anyways, Indira Talwani is trying to enforce decisions to cut people's parole short, especially people that might be criminals. I don't think she's legally allowed to do that, but whatever, we'll get there. Trump administration strips benefits from thousands of aliens on the terror watch list. There you go. Done. Sorry, Talwani. Supreme Court ruled Thursday that the Trump administration must arrange the return of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Kilmar, like Kilmore. I'm telling you the names, folks. They're right in front of us. It's a movie. I'm there with you most of the time. Sometimes I'm like, come on. Like, there's a little bit of life built into this, but Kilmar Abrego Garcia? Are you shitting me? He was mistakenly deported to El Salvador. So the Supreme Court has now ruled that Trump needs to bring him back. Kind of weird. Now, again, nothing came out about this administrative error. Now, again, if we've misrepresented that, I'm going to be bummed. So, I want to understand that a little better, because the Supreme Court, I would have thought, would have had access to whatever this alleged error was. And this sounds like an error maybe that was more significant and being played down is what I'm starting to wonder. And again, I will call out our administration all over the place anytime they do stuff like this. transparency is not necessarily misleading people, right? So I would never, I'm not going to ever try to go toe-to-toe with Leavitt. She's a sweetheart, and she'd kick my ass. I mean, that's unquestionable. Drastic staffing cuts at the education department are going to be reviewed. Whatever. They've got, I think it's just one of those internal, let's see, she's winding down the department. Now they're trying to dismantle. And there's this, I think, Office of Inspector General. I wonder if it's like one of those independent agents is what I'm kind of wondering about. So I'm thinking we're going to hear more about this. But, yeah, they're obviously trying to shut down this whole department. And they're fighting it. It's NBC News posting it. So there's a lot of questions I have just in the general concept. Trump administration wants to install federal oversight of Columbia University. This might be a way forward. It would require Columbia University to agree to this. They're in a lawsuity kind of thing, trying to get some of their grant money back because they basically shut down them in a big way. This college probably won't survive without that money because of how mismanaged they are, which might be the point. So, I don't know. Trump just dragging his feet. Even 90 days, 120 days. Dude, you can start to default on all sorts of things. It's a beautiful thing. Meeting with Trump's effing disastrous for the Democrat presidential hopeful. Everybody's pretty pissed off, and I played a little bit of it yesterday, of Gretchen Whitmer of Michigan, because she wants to be president, showed up here. I think she wanted to look like she was like, I'm playing with everybody. We're friendly. Except she says it in her weird-ass accent, her Minnesota accent, right? But, Michigan accent, whatever. I don't know. She sounds weird to me. It tripped me out. I feel like I've never listened to her talk before. I was like, what the hell? She sounds so strange. It's weird. Yeah, so anyway, she's getting beat up by her own party. They're like, pretty sure she's got no chance of winning now. I think it's really up to Gavin Newsom at this point. And I don't think he's got a chance either. I think they're screwed. But that's all they're doing right now. They're just trying to field candidates. I don't know if you guys noticed that. It's all happening in the background, but they're doing it in weird, kind of funny ways. Hillary Clinton caught pushing absurd lie about election security bill that just passed the House, and she got pretty beat up on it. The SAVE Act, they're saying, right? So, of course, old habits die hard, right? So, establishment politics, blah, blah, blah. What is he? Thursday, social media platform X, former 2016 Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton engaged in a loathsome fear-mongering when she claimed that the SAVE Act, an election integrity bill, would actually it would disenfranchise as many as 69 million women. Specifically, SAVE Act, having to have documentation that you're a citizen. It's difficult, she says, Hillary Clinton, 69 million women, because on their birth certificates it says one name, but if they've gotten married, it might say a different name on their driver's license, which is still proof of citizenship to a degree, I think. Otherwise, you got an identity ID card. You can't have a driver's license, I guess, but there's got to be, I don't know, it depends on the state maybe. Some states actually have social security numbers on there, which tripped me out. Tennessee did that. I thought it was really weird. I'm like, why does this have to be on there? I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Ugh. Anywho, yeah, so she got beat up on. A lot of women are pissed. What are you saying? Us women can't? She's saying you women can't do shit. It's what she's saying. Y'all should get mad. Lena Hava is going to be the new is the U.S. Attorney for the District of New Jersey. She's launching an investigation into her own governor. I love it.
For the district, now the U.S. Attorney for the District of New Jersey, Alina Habba, is here with more. Is that true? Do you have proof of that? Have you heard that to be true?
Let me give you a very brief summary of what we do know. We know that the governor has on his website currently do's and don'ts for his local state of law enforcement. Those do's and don'ts instruct them not to cooperate with illegal immigrants who have administrative warrants that have been issued by the court after due process saying that they are no longer welcome here. They have gone through the court system. They are to be deported. It is instructing them to go against our federal rules, our executive orders. And I am unfortunately going to announce on your show tonight, Sean, and I want it to be a warning for everybody, that I have instructed my office today to open an investigation into Governor Murphy, to open an investigation into Attorney General Platkin, who has also instructed the state police not to assist any of our federal, and they list our federal agencies that are under my direction, the FBI, the DEA, all these individuals that are trying to clean up our streets in New Jersey, not to cooperate. That will no longer stand. Pam Bondi has made it clear, and so has our president, that we are to take all violent criminals and criminals out of this country and to completely enforce federal law. And anybody who does get in that way, in the way of what we are doing, which is not political, it is simply against crime, will be charged in the state of New Jersey for obstruction, for concealment, and I will come after them hard. Those investigations will start immediately.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and edit all that, but that's funny as hell. The thing that I was doing that was wrong and perversion-oriented, oh, so gorgeous. Donald Trump's DOJ arrests Democratic lawmaker. Yeah, Massachusetts State Representative Christopher Flanagan, a Democrat for the 1st Barnstable District, was indicted by the Department of Justice on Friday by the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Massachusetts in an alleged fraud and cover-up scheme. So charges against him have happened. They're saying it's an appalling breach of public trust. According to the indictment, Mr. Flanagan defrauded the very organization he was supposed to serve, allegedly funneling tens of thousands of dollars into his own pockets to pay off personal bills, buy luxury items, and bankroll his political campaign. Well, that's illegal. So he's been literally arrested, probably so he could be, booked and all that stuff. They'll let him out, I'm sure. I'm sure the guy's not going to stay in jail, but that's pretty serious stuff. Pennsylvania Judge Sonia McKnight convicted of shooting her sleeping boyfriend in the head. Word. Dude, that is tough. Yeah, you don't want to piss this lady off. You don't want her as your judge probably either. Damn. Yeah, needless to say, she's nice gloves. Those are cute. She has been arrested. That's actually... with no makeup and her hair all fucked up, she's kind of a good-looking girl. She looks worse up here. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Whatever. She's a shooter. That's definitely not someone you want to get in a relationship with. I didn't know what was up. Don't piss off your girlfriend in the middle of the night, my friend. That's why they say don't go to bed, sleep. Don't go to bed angry, I mean. Right? Your defenses are down, Holmes. Shoot. You're better off out in the doghouse, literally. D.A. Willis ordered to pay big fine for violations in the Trump case. Yeah, she lost. Fulton County District Attorney has been ordered to pay over $54,000 in attorney fees for violating Georgia's Open Records Act. This is all just through the cases of people that were tied in with the Trump stuff. Georgia Court of Appeals ruled that the disqualification was necessary due to the appearance of impropriety, stemming from Willis's previous relationships with Nathan Wade, a former special prosecutor of the case. Wade was forced to resign. Willis filed an appeal with the Georgia Supreme Court in January, arguing that the court was wrong to disqualify her based solely upon the appearance of impropriety and absent a finding of an actual conflict of interest or forensic misconduct. In the court order issued on Friday, the judge found that the DA's office had been openly hostile to merchants' requests for documents, adding that they were handled differently than other requests. The judge added that this indicated a lack of good faith. Willis now has 30 days to provide all the requested records and pay $54,264 to merchant, reflecting nearly 80 hours of work on the case, according to the courts. Uh-oh. Our Georgia sweetheart's getting jacked, it sounds like. Rep. Jasmine Crockett, she's under FEC investigations over Act Blue campaign donations. This might be actually the way we kind of bust Act Blue. But this chick has been just a nightmare lately and seems to really celebrate this. Like, she's kind of loving it, is what I'm seeing. And it'd be fun to see her kind of knock down a peg or two, but whatever the case is. Rep. Jasmine Crockett, that's just jealousy talking probably. I mean, I don't want her I don't want to get attention that way, but yeah, maybe that's all it is. Yeah, the Act Blue part though specifically, I'm hoping she's got an abnormal number of those, and that's kind of why this is coming out, or if this is going to lead to something much larger. That's really the hope. I think Act Blue should be shut down entirely, And the timing of it would probably benefit us if we have it happen closer to midterms, so we affect that, which I thought we were going to do it before the last election. I don't know if you guys were paying attention, but I was talking about it then. That was my hope. But it sounds like that might be coming soon to a theater near you. Hopefully you're enjoying the movie. This is Attorney General James Uthmeier. I hope he says his name, but he's saying something that we want to hear about.
I'm Attorney General James Uthmeier. On September 15th, 2024, Ryan Ralph attempted to assassinate then presidential candidate Donald J. Trump at the Trump International Golf Club in West Palm Beach. Shortly after the assassination attempt, Governor DeSantis signed an executive order directing the Office of Attorney General to work with our law enforcement partners and investigate Mr. Ralph. After 206 days of stonewalling by the federal government that stemmed from days of the Biden administration, I'm able to now announce that my office is charging Mr. Ralph for the attempted first-degree murder of President Trump, as well as a charge for terrorism. My office, as well as our law enforcement partners, were met with major roadblocks in prosecuting this case during Biden's term. Biden and his attorney general sought to frustrate our efforts and block our investigation into the man who crossed into this state and attempted to commit political violence against a Florida resident. Thank God he was unsuccessful, and thank God we have Donald Trump as president again. The leadership of U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel was instrumental in preserving Florida's sovereign authority to do what is right and bring justice where it is due. We now have a federal government willing to work together to pursue justice. Attempting to take the life of a former president and a leading presidential candidate isn't just an attack on one man. This was a political attack against our Republican form of government and our shared American values. We cannot allow justice to be delayed or denied, and thanks to the President, our U.S. Attorney General, and the FBI Director, we are moving forward in our pursuit. Our statewide prosecutors will work to hold this evil man accountable and keep Florida safe, strong, and free.
Is it just me, or is this dude looks like he's not actually got his upper button buttoned, huh? This is a man that's making just enough money to pay for his family, obviously not buy shirts that fit collar-wise. That collar, that measurement on your neck, oh man, if you don't get somebody to measure your stuff, your shizzle, I'm telling you what. U.S. ATF Deputy Director is resigning under pressure following Patel's removal. So the second-ranking official at the U.S. Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms Explosives resigned after being given the option to leave or quit or be resigned, whichever. However, leave or be removed. Oh, shit. Quit or we will remove you, which will look worse. Damn. Now, this is from people familiar, whatever the case is. But we know that Kash was pulled off this. My guess is he didn't. I'm wondering if this wouldn't have looked good. I think this might have been an optics thing. Like, let's not have Kash do this because and Kash might have figured this out very quickly. He's like, what we got over there is a mess. And they're like, all right, let's bring in Army Secretary Daniel Driscoll. Let's have him fan these flames. It's safer that way. So that's what happened. So Army Secretary Daniel Driscoll, he's running 2 departments right now. We're letting Kash Patel work on just the FBI. That was never a bad thing, but it sounds like it's already starting to bear fruit, if you will. Newly declassified FBI memo details concerns payments to Russian collusion informants. So we've got another individual, I think, that was tied into all the Steele dossier crap, and that's this Stephen Halper individual. So we got some information coming out about them. This is the dude that took down Mike Flynn. So obviously Mr. Flynn's, General Flynn, has huge desires to get this, put out in public. He's getting a lot of crap too. He's still getting attacked a lot by people, and I don't know. I don't know. His actions, Flynn's actions, have, I think, been admirable. Everybody that's ever attacked him has been on stuff that's either A, way in the past, B, kind of not relevant, C, is like not something he's currently doing. Like, I don't know. Like, I see the difference. What I see is when you as a person are in the current present tense slamming somebody that in the current present tense has been trying to do good things. I say being, and that his track record's been pretty solid. But currently you're attacking them, claiming stuff they did way in the past. I actually start to put you on the list of people that are concerning, right? Like, this dude we all made mistakes. I mean, what are they doing now? Are they helping the process right now? Did a lot of people realize that we're actually winning and they want to be on the winning team? Like, there's hope. There's a lot of people I think that are very like, you made a mistake ever in your life. You are toast. You can never, ever pass go again. And it's like, and then you say to them, you're like, well, haven't you made mistakes? And it's like, yeah, but it's different. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's identical. So we'll see what comes from all of this fun stuff. Hopefully they get him straightened down. I think Flynn's a good man, but I don't vouch for anybody. I let people vouch for themselves. I really don't. That's just stupid. Just Human put this out. Hurts me. So this is the state of intelligence community information regarding Trump and Russia prior to the opening of Crossfire Hurricane. And as set forth in greater detail, the blue part's important, but I feel like the rest of it is too. As set forth in greater detail in Section 4A, blah, 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 for the initial receipt by FBI headquarters of information from Australia on July 28, 2016, concerning comments reportedly made in a tavern on May 6, 2016, by George Papadopoulos, an unpaid foreign policy advisor to the Trump campaign, the government possessed no verified intelligence reflecting that Trump or the Trump campaign was involved in a conspiracy or collaborative relationship with officials of the Russian government. Indeed, based on the evidence gathered in the multiple exhaustive and costly federal investigations of these matters, including the instant investigation, neither U.S. law enforcement nor the intelligence community appear to have possessed any actual evidence of collusion in their holdings at the commencement of Crossfire Hurricane investigation. They literally had no actual evidence. They had hearsay. And they began investigating a president and presidential candidate, really at the time, based off of hearsay. That's all it took. U.S. Navy Secretary, he's $5.1 billion he's talking about that he saved us. That was something to that effect. Check it out.
All right, we're back with another update on cutting wasteful spending here at DOD, and this one is, as they say, a big one. This is a big day. We're signing a memo right now directing the termination of $5.1 billion in DOD contracts. Not million, that's with a B. $5.1 billion in DOD contracts for ancillary things like consulting and other non-essential services. So here's a few examples. DHA contracts for consulting services from Accenture, Deloitte, Booz Allen, and other firms. They're going to save the department $1.8 billion. How about a software reseller contract for enterprise cloud IT services, saving the department $1.4 billion. A $500 million Navy contract for business process consulting. Again, process, lots of consultant. For administrative offices in the Bureau of Medicine. By the way, we need this money to spend on better health care for our warfighters and their families instead of $500 an hour business process consultant. That's a lot of consulting. How about this? A DARPA contract for IT help desk services that are completely duplicative with services already provided by our DISA workforce, saving the department another $500 million. We're also terminating on the DEI front, 11 more contracts for DEI, climate, COVID-19 response, and related non-essential activities across the department. We are committed to rooting out DEI, root and branch throughout this department, and we found 11 more contracts, and we're going to keep looking. So that's $5.1 billion in DoD contracts we're getting rid of. On top of that, in support of the president's priorities to stop federal funding for academic institutions that tolerate anti-Semitism and support divisive DEI programs, this week DoD is also pausing over $500 million in funding to Northwestern University and Cornell University, and that's on top of the $70 million in funding we've already paused at Columbia, Penn, Brown, and Princeton over the last few weeks, as if any of these institutions need more government money at all. So for you're keeping score at home, today's cuts bring our running total to nearly $6 billion in wasteful spending over the first 6 weeks of the DoD DOGE effort here at the Defense Department. Their job is to go out and find the stuff that we can get rid of and then drive back into warfighting capabilities here at the Defense Department. So we want to thank our friends at DOGE. We want to thank all the folks here that have helped us unpack this, reveal it, and we're excited to make these cuts on behalf of you, the taxpayer, and the warfighters here at the department. Thanks.
Wonder how weird those pens smell. Did anyone else ever wonder that? Because they dry really quick, apparently. They don't seem to smear. They obviously can't, but they're like giant tip, right? It's like a 4-year-old's crayon. It's so strange to me. My brain's weird. I don't know what's wrong with me, folks. In a secret meeting, China acknowledged role in U.S. infrastructure hacks. They literally talk about how the typhoon thing and trying to get into our system. So if need be, they could cause problems. Here's the thing, though. We're going to war right now with China, and we had identified a lot of this stuff months back. Now, many of us were pissed. We were fighting it even during the Biden administration. We were pissed, but I think a lot of this stuff has been helped. I'm sure there's still places that aren't, likely places where governors and mayors are tied in with China. We'll probably see some problems. If you're one of the people that lives close to one of those things, you'll know what's going on. Pet Club's just awesome. I just want to remind you guys quickly, Pet Club, go to danradiostyle.petclub247.com. That's danradiostyle.petclub247.com. It's this mushroom, Coriolis versicolor. You can get it in any animal, well, the 4 that they specify, dogs, cats, horses, and people. This mushroom seems to help with your immune system. It seems to help reduce a lot of the problems that we have. I don't know if it's healing or like there's been people that the baby Trump came on, had cancer and took a bunch of this stuff and his cancer shrunk to the point where the doctors are like, what the hell happened? Cancer went away. We've had a number of cases where dogs and cats have had different ailments, maybe even cancer being some of them. And for some reason, the research seems to show that this Coriolis versicolor seems to help tremendously with those types of problems. Immune system issues, issues with their coat, they got bumps in their skin, small little skin things. Like this seems to help. There's a few different ways you can do it without spending a whole lot of time covering the entire catalog. They've got cookies, they've treats, they've got foods, they've got special sauces that you can squeeze on top of whatever the hell. They've got a number of different ways that you can go about helping your dogs, your cats, your horses, and your humans be healthier, live longer, and maybe be healthy, significantly healthier, like getting rid of stuff. I guess it's just still being healthy. Go to danradiostyle.petclub247.com. That's danradiostyle.petclub247.com. Go to the shop tab, all sorts of great stuff. They got packs where you can buy stuff together. But again, for dogs, easy ways, these biscuits, the dogs dig them. Special sauce, they have dogs and cat versions of these. Mojo's is a liver treat, dogs and cats like that. So if you're somebody that's living in a dual household, strangeness, that might be a fun one for you. Dogs will eat them. Cats usually eat them. I have one friend that's her cat's one of them anyways, is pretty hard times and doesn't seem to dig the Mojo's too much. You got to try what you got to try, right? But a lot of good ways to get this mushroom into your body. You can't get too much of it. It's really an issue of just trying not to overfeed your pets and animals. You don't want to constantly give them treats. So find a healthy way to make sure you've getting this into their diet and keeping them around longer. They've got some really great options at Pet Club 247. Awesome company. Love these guys. Go to danradiostyle.petclub247.com. That's danradiostyle.petclub247.com. And make that healthy choice for you and your pets, your loved ones. Yeah. Mirror, 1, because it is mirror, but 2, because the deep state is being mirrored. It's the only thing I actually condensed. It's kind of funny. Terrifying virus shuts Europe borders with fears as it may be a biological attack. What's very interesting is it's Hungary that's going through this. Hungary is the country that they're trying to kick out of the EU's voting abilities. They don't like the fact that Hungary's got to vote because Hungary is somebody that continues to support Trump and what he's doing. So that's a problem for them. And now all of a sudden we've got foot and mouth disease, which hasn't been detected in Hungary for over half a century. Now all of a sudden shows up, and all their neighboring countries are shutting down trade and everything else. They're attacking Hungary, right, which is Orban. We like Orban. He's a good guy. Brazil's former president, Bolsonaro, is hospitalized. I don't exactly know what's up with him. He's got abdominal pain. Hope he's okay. Prayers out to the man. Yeah, something's going on, folks. The virus, I feel like I missed a story. Oh, Putin, yeah. He could spark worldwide blackouts as NATO issues chilling warning. They're saying that Putin's going to run around and break all the little cables that are running across the undersea floors and Baltic and all that area. So they're already, of course, trying to paint Putin as the guy that's about to do something that they're going to spark Europe, it seems, into darkness. Europe, you guys are, I don't know. We might get disconnected from each other since we kind of are the internet, I think, to a large extent. I believe we kind of invented it here in this country. I know there's hubs, but we might lose connection to other places, but I think it'll still work here. Whatever the case is, we got a lot going on in that regards, and people are, I don't know how, I think it's an issue of how people wake up collectively and deal with their stuff. I mean, it's kind of like, I think people in Europe wish Doge could come over there and fix their problems. I'm sure there's some people that are like, Dan, I wish you'd talk more about what's happening here in Europe. Then it's like, no, you guys need to do that. I'm worried about America. I'm worried about California. I'm worried about what we're doing here. I love you guys in the other parts of the world, but you got to handle yourself. I got a good friend hits me up from down under, and he's doing his own version of kind of this. And, again, it's part of doing your part, and it's just going to help you feel better. I don't have as many people as you do. Neither did I when I started. Dude, by the way, there's people that have been in this way shorter periods of time than I have been, and that have way more viewers, all right? I don't play the game the way you're supposed to if you're just trying to be famous. If that was all I wanted to do, I'd be coming at this from a different angle. Fame is definitely, it's like one of the drawbacks to what I do, actually. I'm just a normal dude trying to help. U.S. military removes commander of the Greenland base after Vance's visit. The chick literally tried to distance herself from J.D. Vance being there, the vice president of the commander-in-chief. And she's like, I don't want to talk. I don't like these guys. I don't like what's going on. So she got fired. She got removed or whatever, removed from command. That's how that works, sweetheart. Also, I'm wondering how you got your job, but whatever. We've got Putin meeting Trump's envoy, Witkoff. This is kind of significant. He even does the thing on the heart, which I thought was interesting. That was nice. That was respect to the Russians, too, by the way. Tell me I'm wrong, Russian friends out there, but I'm pretty sure that was respect. And a great way to start the meeting with the head of state. And the fact that he exposes his back to him, which is kind of cool. Granted, just got security, but I don't know. There's some body language stuff happening there. It's kind of cool. U.S. Ambassador to Ukraine, Bridget Brink, is stepping down. She was on the brink. Now she's over the edge. She's gone. Bye-bye. Yeah, obviously she's not doing a good job, and she is no longer going to be there. Taiwan is charging Chinese ship captain with damaging undersea cables once again. It's a shame they can't blame Russia on this one. Damn. Taiwan, you sure it wasn't Russia? But yeah, between the two islands, seems a ship was dragging their anchor. This is the thing to do, and they are trying to cut off Taiwan. And my guess is that they're successfully able to cut off one of these significant cables, or second or third one. That's when the attack happens. China's been doing this thing where they're like racing planes towards Taiwan, and then they'll turn off at the last minute. They've been doing this a lot. So Taiwan is under pretty extreme stress, and they are being sort of attacked. So they actually busted this dude. They sent the rest of the crew back to China, but I think this individual, the captain, I think is being charged. So that is going to be a bad day for that Joe. Let's see. Florida tech company admits to tweaking the language. It's very short. You'll think it's 9 minutes long, I think, but it's not very long.
I'm with O'Keefe Media Group, and we're doing a story, and we have someone who secretly recorded a meeting in your office talking about DEI and exposed that you were changing the words.
And we're seeing specific projects being pulled because they had the words in the executive summary: climate change, environmental. I mean, this got to me personally.
Yeah, and that's it. Just stops on its own. It was very, kind of weird because, it said it's 9 minutes and 49 seconds long, but it dies at 12 seconds. And I tried multiple times, tried to skip past it. There's just no way. So I don't know what happened to that recording. It's kind of interesting. It's almost like somebody's gotten in there and gotten rid of it. Finally, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was asked whether society should pay for health care of Americans who eat donuts or smoke. Now, I was in the smoking group, and I got a lot of people in my audience that smoke. I know that. I'm going to kind of stick up for you guys a little bit. Donuts, not so much, but whatever. Here's the thing. If you're overweight and if you have illness because of smoking, it is definitely your choice, your fault, your outcome, right? I know they're saying right now that nicotine is somehow good for certain receptors and all that. That's fine, but cigarettes aren't nicotine. They're nicotine and over 1,000 other chemicals. So let's not pretend that it's something it's not, okay? It's not necessarily your best friend. I get it. I smoked. I'm not saying you should stop. But what I am saying is it's not healthy. It just isn't. Nor is eating donuts, drinking Coke. A lot of this crap. So to say to the point that we're not going to take care of your health care, I feel like that's pretty hardcore, but I get his argument, and it's a tough one to make. But I also remember as a smoker, every pack of cigarettes I bought had an enormous tax. And that's what I used to always say back then. It's like, as much tax as I've paid for these cigarettes that you guys spend on whatever the hell you want, I actually have paid for my health care as far as I'm concerned. Now I ended up quitting, and which was a smart thing. But I get it. This is a tough argument. It's a tough place to come at things. I know a lot of people are like, that's effed up. I don't think that's fair. And I get you. But at the same time, if you choose to do something that's unhealthy, should others have to pay for your health care? I mean, a lot of us are in a weird place right now where we're kind of looking at who we want to pay for, who we want to pay for and what we don't want to pay for and blah, blah, blah. Now, again, as a society, I think we find that we want to take care of our own. And I think the healthier choice is to try to get people to understand why it's unhealthy to smoke cigarettes, or at least all the chemicals that are in cigarettes. And there's other ways to get nicotine in your system if that's what you'd like to do, that are healthier for you, by the way. And likewise, donuts and everything else. You want to eat them once in a while? Cool. But all the time, regular basis, every day, that's probably not the best thing for us. A lot of us have to take some ownership of what we experience in our own lives. We want to blame everybody else. We want it to be somebody else's problem, but ultimately it's your problem. It really is. You're the one that's living with the ailment. You're the one that's upset. You're grumpy, not comfortable. It's your thing. We're going to try to create a way where we can heal this stuff. We're going to try to get out of some of these behaviors, but there has to be a little bit of ownership over what we've done to ourselves. So on the individual level, certainly, as a country, yes. In politics, yes, right? Like business, yes. We've done this to ourselves. It's time we see that and make different choices. Definition of insanity, I think, attributed to Einstein. To continue to do the same process over and over with the hopes of a different outcome is the definition of insanity. If you think doing the same thing over and over is somehow going to lead to a different conclusion, you are likely crazy. Especially after the 100th time. And it's pretty consistent. Don't think we're going to see any other slants from that. So I think all of us, in all walks of life, in all areas of our life, need to really look at What is actually healing ourselves? What is actually bringing light and energy and wonderfulness to our bodies versus the things that aren't? And folks, I drink. I'm right there with you. Okay? I'm a sinner too, if you want to say it, right? But same thing with me. I have my little discussions. I'm like, all right, I got to obviously go a few days. Whatever. We all got our own cross to bear. But remember, it's our own cross to bear. It's not somebody else's problem. We got to own what we got. We got to see what we got. We got to own it, though. If we like it, cool. If it's worth the extra aggravation, cool. Keep doing what you're doing. But if you're literally bitching about it, make some changes. Stop expecting others to fix your problem that can only be fixed by you. This is the big part of the awakening, the big part of the growth, the big part of what we're all coming to as a nation even right now. You're ahead of the curve, so I'm kind of giving you some of that crap before everybody else figures it out, because I need you guys to help the best you can. And you guys have been doing a bang-up job. I love you guys. Where we go one, we go all. It's On The Fringe with Dan Radio Style.